shining with Scrapbooking Quebec. Today I'm here for the Scrapbook Nerd Online Shop, and I'm going to be creating a 3-photo 12 by 12 layout featuring Heidi Swapp's Sun Chaser collection. I'm also going to be talking about base pages, and I'll be using one of my favorites to create this layout. If you're unfamiliar, a base page is a go-to foundation page design, and one of these designs can result in a multitude of very different looks on a layout. So these designs are super practical and fantastic jumping off points. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you a few other pages I created with this very same base page design, and you're going to see they all look really different. So here's what I'm going to be using today, all from the Sun Chaser collection. This collection is fun, summery, cheerful, but above all for me, I find it super easy to use. The colors are bright and cheerful, but they're slightly washed over. And for me, that just makes them usable, really, really usable. This collection is available at the Scrapbook Nerd, so I'm going to link up the shop, the collection, along with a few tools I'll be using in the description box below. So the first thing I want to do is have a look at this base page design that I'll be using. So you can see on the left, it's basically half a frame style foundation created with two papers, the blue and the white. On the right, I place a very wide border. So what I'm showing you right now is you can use this very same page design in any orientation you want. So that border can be at the bottom, the left, on top, or on the right. I'd also like to point out I'm putting measurements for what I'm doing, but you can make that border more narrow, wider, whatever looks good to you. Also, I'm showing you that I'm going to be using 3 photos, but when you use base page designs, it's basically the bones of a layout. What you put on top of it can vary greatly. You can use this very same page design, but just use 1 photo, maybe in that white column. Or maybe you want to put 2 photos in that white column. Or maybe you want to fill up both columns with 6 photos. Really, it's extremely flexible and adaptable, and you will see a few examples at the very end of this video. I'm showing you I have a bunch of material from the Sun Chaser collection on my table, but right now what I want to do is kind of explain where I'm heading with this. So I'm going to be using 3 photos, and essentially what I'm going to be doing is more or less creating a horizontal line with these photos towards the middle of the page. So I have 1 focal point photo and 2 complementary photos, and I'm showing you that I'm going to tuck in this planner page that I cut out in advance with a die from Elizabeth Craft Designs. I'm not sure if this one's available at the shop, but they definitely have other ones. I use them all the time for journaling, for layering, and all of that. My plan is to put 2 main embellishment clusters here, one in the top left and another in the bottom right. So that's going to create more or less a diagonal design. And in the bottom right, that's where my title's going to go. So I'm going to create my title using 2 different die sets. That's what I'm showing you right now. And what I'm going to be creating are adhesive words with these die. So the first die set I'm going to use is from Memory Box. It's the Wooden Alpha die set. So what I'm going to do is back my blue paper with those Be Creative tape sheets. That's what I showed you a moment ago. So I'm going to basically cut out that blue paper to fit my word day. My title's going to be An Amazing Day. And what I will do is back that blue paper in this tape sheet. Then I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine with my alphas. And what's going to pop out are self-adhesive alphas. Super cool. I've been doing this quite a bit over the past month or 2, and I absolutely love the technique. It's so incredibly convenient. And these letters, by the way, have like a wood motif embossed on them. Super cool, and they are about 1.5 inches in height. So you'll see those better in the still shots at the very end of this video. Now what I'm going to do with the other die set, which is called, let's see here, it's called Hip Hip Hooray by Concord and Ninth. And in that die set was the word amazing. So what I'm cutting out is the word yellow, amazing. And I basically backed that paper in foam adhesive. So what I'm creating here is a dimensional word, amazing. Super, super amazing, actually. And I'm going to run that very same die through my machine, but this time I'm only using the first part of the word amazing. You're going to see what I do with it in a minute. basically the first letters are AM, and I'm going to trim down the M to make it an N, and now I have a title, An Amazing Day. So I'm really happy with my title. While I have my big shot out, what I'm going to do with this scrap of yellow paper is cut out a semicircle of yellow paper, and that is going to be a sun later on my layout. So I'm going to tidy up my desk here, put away my big shot, and then I'll show you everything that I cut out with my big shot. So I'm really, really happy with the title. And now I'm going to get out a stencil. Now this one is no longer available at the shop, but when I was looking for it, I did notice there were 2 other sunburst stencils there. So I'm basically showing you how I'm going to place everything on the page, but then I'm going to get out this stencil and I'm going to stencil sunbeams behind that yellow semicircle. So what I will do is basically adhere this stencil in place, and then I'm going to get out a Vicky Bouton stencil brush, and the ink I'll be using is Pineapple Punch. I think it's from Stampin' Up, but it was the closest color I could find in my stash to that yellow semicircle. You can see Chester is extremely curious as to what's going on here. So basically I'm just brushing on the ink through this stencil, and you're going to see in a moment it makes these beautiful sunbeams. So I'm going to adhere that semicircle just underneath that. And underneath the semicircle is where I will be adhering my focal point photo. So it's going to be like this giant sun popping up from behind my focal point photo. Now what I'm going to do is place everything back on the page just to make sure I'm happy with the placement. And once that's all down, then what I will do is adhere most of this to the page. So what I will be adhering is the border, along with the sun and the photos. I am going to keep the title separate right now, simply because I want to play around with placement with my embellishing. I also want to point out that when I was deciding where to place my photos, I purposefully decided to put the scenery photo on the planner page as opposed to the photo of me that's over on the right. That's because I plan to do a lot of overlapping on that middle photo. It's almost going to be where the main embellishment cluster is, and I will be overlapping my title. And I don't like to overlap on people photos. I prefer to do that on scenery photos. So I just wanted to point that out because that area is going to be quite significant with embellishing. You can see I do have my embellishing around me now. So what I want to do is kind of just, you know, add some more stuff in that title area. And you can see behind that photo, I tucked in a piece of ephemera that says on the agenda. I also found a heart sticker and I tucked that behind the word amazing. It's on wax paper at this point. I do know I want to add some more stuff here, but I'm not quite sure what. At this point, I get out the sticker book here and I find one with the word sun, and I'm going to tuck it along the left-hand side of that photo in the middle, and I'm happy with that. I still want to beef up that corner in the top left, and I want to add something in the bottom right as well, but I don't know what. So at this point, I decide I'm going to adhere at least the pieces that I like, and then with all the wax paper gone, I will be able to see better and decide what I need to add to this layout. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm really thrilled with these adhesive alphas. You can see me putting down the word day now, and I would like to point out that when I was playing around with placement, I made sure to pop up that photo on the right and up enough so that it could fit the word day. That was quite purposeful, the placement of the planner page and that photo on the right, so that I could squeeze the word day in there. Now I'm continuing with the title. I'm really, really thrilled with my title, especially my "and" that I created by kind of Frankensteining the word amazing. And now I do want to add some more stuff. So I'm playing around with my ephemera pieces, tucking a few pieces in that top left. I end up putting a heart up there. There was a word on it that didn't interest me, so I made sure it was tucked behind my photo, added a little tab there that says happiness. And now what I'm looking for is I want another piece of that copper. It's like a coppery or a rose gold color that's in the word happiness. It's also on that ephemera piece in the middle that says on the agenda. It's like I want to repeat it in the bottom corner, but I can't decide. So at this point, I decide to grab my stamps. That set is called Vacay Phrases. I use it all the time. And there are a bunch of little words and they fit perfectly in those planner pages. So I'm stamping the word #SoFab up there, and I'm really happy with that, but I still know I want something at the bottom there. So what I end up doing is turning off the camera. When it was off, I ended up rounding the corners on that white cardstock, and I added a little foil heart in the bottom and popped it up on foam adhesive. Now I want to show you the other pages I created using this very same base page design. So you can see there one with one photo, it looks completely different. And that one with one photo, the border's at the bottom. The one I'm showing you now, the border is on the left and the photos are larger and more straight, less bouncing up and down like the one I created today. So all three of these pages look very different, but they all started with the very same base page design. So that is why base page designs are so incredibly practical. Anyway, all I ended up doing off camera was my journaling. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the Scrapbook Nerd YouTube channel, we would be absolutely thrilled if you did. And the same thing for my channel, Scrapbooking Quebec. Make sure you head on over to the Scrapbook Nerd Shop to check out these supplies and more. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon on YouTube. Bye-bye.